All right, so it would appear as though we're on the cusp of another Gamergate grown uh, issue going on in another fandom. This time it's with Marvel and comic books in general, I think. And it's a big complicated mess, one that is going to take a while to unpack. But I'd like to examine a couple of things that I'm curious. I'm asking you out there to help explain to me why you think certain things like this exist. So something I don't get is why do I would think this is probably true of anybody who gets to work, for example, for Marvel or DC Comics, um, or really like any major company. Like if I had a job at Wizards of the Coast, since I mostly play Magic, me 5 years ago, I definitely was into comic books, but now I just don't have much time for them anymore. Uh, so they're regular people, and then they put like editor at Marvel or something like that in their Twitter bio. These are people that aren't that relevant in the Twitter scape, right? In the Twitter world, they have their close personal friends, but it's not often that some new writer at Marvel already has 10,000 followers or something like that. So I'm noticing a trend. You see somebody with like 1,000 or 2,000, 3,000 followers get an increase because now they work at Marvel, right? And they seem to always forget that nobody cares about them outside of their interactions with Marvel. And none of these people seem to have like their personal accounts. So they let their jobs co-opt their personal Twitter accounts. And then they wonder why people that disagree with them end up on their Twitter feeds. It's very interesting to me. We have this milkshake gate bullshit going on right now where a bunch of female Marvel writers or editors took a selfie, posted it to the internet, and some people on the internet had some salty things to say about it. I looked through the thread. I didn't really see anything. It's interesting, though, that the games media couldn't wait to pounce on this and call it another Gamergate. When basically one person, this is like the same thing as before, right? A female who's also active in social justice cries wolf and says that they're getting abused and things like that, and offers no proof or evidence of it, and the media around them rallies around them and prints the same narrative. I saw the same sort of article get produced at 4 or 5 different major media outlets, including Yahoo and others, that said this had the same kind of headline, like female, insert words, harassed, insert words, Gamergate. The narrative of the articles were in general the same. Misogyn nerds raid harmless selfie photo of milkshakes. And it's an oversimplification of the issue to just push an agenda again, right? This sort of uproar now makes all these girls basically unfireable for the near future. And I believe that at least some of them knew that perpetuating this victim narrative was going to be profitable for them, regardless of whether or not Marvel is making any money on their comic books, which I doubt, seeing as though book sales are at all-time lows. It's just, there's going to be a reckoning. It's already happened in the sales numbers, and now I think should they continue to push this, it's interesting how Marvel and DC's kind of SJW Twitter personalities have pretty innocuous, nothing positions, right? They're like a junior editor, or like they're relatively new. They work on comics that nobody buys, and so they use their platform. It's almost like, I wonder if these people are like evil geniuses or just dumb. Imagine a situation where somebody was like, boy, I really want to preach social justice. I'm going to take some crap job at Marvel, take little to no money, be a diversity hire, get that platform, and then spread that message. I don't understand how an entire Twitter community, a large portion of the Marvel Twitter community appears to hate their fans. Where I come from, if you have thousands of customers complaining, you don't have the luxury to just tell them to fuck off. But apparently Marvel's okay with their writers doing that, or painting, the ignoring the correlation between the drop in sales and the injection of more social justice, into gender bending heroes, into removing violence, into pushing narratives. These things are not just, causation and correlation aren't always the same, connected. They don't always relate, but in this case, it's obvious that they do. And what I don't understand is, and what I'm really afraid of, so now that I play Magic the Gathering more often, I see a lot of this narrative at the top, but it hasn't really, it's not as bad as Marvel. But I don't understand, what I'm wondering is, are these people like diabolical? They get this job and they know they're going to use it to spread their ideology? Or are they just so stupid that they think that they're all of a sudden people love their ideas and want to follow them on Twitter? Because I follow a lot of Marvel people on my personal Twitter, which I don't even talk about publicly, because I'm interested, but I don't really care about whether or not they're getting milkshakes #woman power. I want to know about what's going on with Marvel. Now, this is a great case to keep things separate, which is what I do. But it seems like none of these social justice warriors, these social justice types on Marvel Twitter, they think everyone just follows them because they want to hear the rhetoric. They don't think anyone's following them because they might like Marvel, and they seem to lash out at their followers. And I just don't understand that mindset. So if you could help me understand we hate our readers, what is the end game these social justice people think is going to happen? Like that they're just going to have a job forever, or that they're just going to be like a cockroach? They're basically like a parasite. They're here to suck up their internet followers. They get some other low-level job somewhere else and they leave behind, and they don't really care what they do to Marvel. Or do they really think? It's so weird to me, because it's a lot different than Gamergate in a lot of ways, but in a lot of ways it's very similar. And I just don't understand how, if you read comic books, how you can follow these people on Twitter and still want to buy comic books, because it makes me not. If a company basically says they don't want me around, it's very difficult. I have the same problem with Magic. I know I'm not the type of person they want playing their game, but at least they're not coming out and saying it as often. But it makes me really worried about the future of Magic, because it's happening to Marvel. They're totally infected. What do you think these Twitter personalities' endgame is? Do you think that they think they're doing good? Do you think that they... I don't think many of them really like comic books. #fake gamer girl. But I'm open to being proven wrong. I wish I could get one of these people to talk to me. I've reached out to about 8 of them on my Unsleeved Media account to see if I could get one of them to come on. But no replies. Big surprise there, right? They already know who will push their narrative. They don't want to speak out about it. They have thousands of beta white knights miladying for them currently. But Marvel is an interesting thing to watch right now. Keep an eye out on their Twitter. I would suggest following a few of these people and maybe not interacting with them so they don't block you right away. But it's definitely an interesting development, and the Twitterverse right now around Marvel games is a shitstorm. And I think ultimately Marvel doesn't care, because they just need to keep these IPs around so they can keep making $400 million blockbusters every summer. But I do feel bad for people who really love comic books. You guys got a raw deal, and for what it's worth, I'm sorry. I really hope that the hobby survives it, and that you can find a way to still enjoy your hobby without wanting to kill yourself because you know you're not wanted.